Right, so it's time for a bit more rust repair on the track, no not the track car, the road going FTO. I'm going to make a little video here because it's going to involve removing the fuel tank. Thanks for pussies. And I want to get a little video in the channel showing you the easiest ways to remove the fuel tank, because I think there is a couple of ways of doing it, and depending on the rust in your car and how easy it is to undo things, I will give you a sort of rundown on how you go about doing it. So I'm going to pop the GoPro on the head and I'll talk you through what I'm doing, and hopefully we'll have the fuel tank out by the end of the video. Okay guys, so out in the car, we started taking the rear bench out of the car, taking off this covering panel with its 4 associated little Phillips head screws, undo the electrical connector for the fuel pump, and start the car up and release any fuel pressure that's in the system. That'll drain the fuel through the engine itself. A brief note here, you cannot undo this pipe from this point without this pipe being allowed to rotate, so leave this one in place. This is actually brazed onto these pipes, so you can't rotate it independently. The return pipe you can undo from here, but we're going to undo both of these from below the car, so we'll get in the pit and I'll show you what that looks like from beneath now. And we'll just make sure that connector is tucked out of the way and it's not going to snag on anything when the tank comes down. And let's get in the pit. Removing the tank in the FTO is actually a fairly simple process. You've got essentially 4 brackets. You've got two brackets here with 14mm nuts holding the tank up. You've got 2 at the front in almost the same place at the front. You've got the filler neck itself and the breather neck for the filler neck. These are easier undone at the neck rather than actually on the tank. And then you've got the pipe I was talking about a minute ago. Now I've just cracked that so you can see a little bit of fuel weeping out of that, and you've got the breather pipe next to it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to undo the filler neck, because these nuts and everything up here is really cruddy. So let's see if we can get our 10mm socket on there. We'll give it a little bit of lube. Okay, and then we'll just undo that little clip there for the breather pipe work. With any pipes like this, you want to try and rotate the pipe first. You can just see that, and then it should come off that pipework fairly simply. There it goes. And then likewise with this breather filler neck, I'm hoping we can wiggle that free. We might need to undo this clip a little bit more. Yeah, no problem, no rush, mate. Right, so there we go, we've got a filler neck off, I've got a breather neck off. So now what I'm going to do is go and just completely finish undoing these lines down here. And we've got such a rusted clip that one is going to just come off. Alright Bob? Yeah. Right, okay, so that's the breather pipe removed. And then we've got to undo the fill pipe. So our 19mm nut, 14mm bolt, I suppose you'd call it. And as you can see, I've still got quite a lot of fuel in this tank, so we're going to let some of this drain out into the pit. Now I've got pits full of water, so although this is not safe and not best practice, it's a little bit less dangerous than it would be if it was on your garage floor and it was allowed to evaporate. So we now have pipes completely loose. Let's just let the rest of that fuel piss out of that line there. Okay. So at this point we're pretty much ready now to undo the actual tank from the car. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got something to support the weight of it after I've just cracked the bolts a little touch. So these bolts are very, very rusty. What we're going to do is I'm going to attempt to just undo one at a time, a little way. Because what I do not want happening is I do not want captive bolts that they're attached to coming off. If you have a little look at that, you'll see these 2 rear ones looking pretty good actually, and they're worse looking than front ones. So at this point I'm going to just roll the car back a few inches, and we'll start doing the same down the front here. Right, so one of these bastards is right above the exhaust.
so at this point we've undone that nightmare nut, which is right above the exhaust that you can't see there. I'm going to take off the other front nut now. I will put my wooden blocks underneath the tank, like so. Yep, like so. That should hold the tank up for now until I'm ready to take it down, rather than it falling down on my bloody head. Right. So we've now got a loose fuel tank, number 3. Now we've got a very wobbly fuel tank, and now we've got a fuel tank that's loose. How you actually let it come down is up to you guys. I don't have a jack tall enough to stand on the floor here. I have got blocks of wood in place. One of my jacks underneath the car here won't fit below the tank, although I could have jacked the car up, I suppose, and put a jack underneath that. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to tap this block out of the way, support the weight with my back, and then I'm going to let it come down onto this beam here. And then we'll do the same thing again, and by the time it's on this beam here I'll be able to slide the whole thing back and out of the way of the car. So if I come around this side, what I'm really watching for is this nut up here. It's the only one holding the weight of the tank at the moment. There she goes. Okay, so we'll take this one out. Right, I'm just double checking to make sure everything else is disconnected. I believe we are good for. Fucking shit! The fucking GoPro in your fucking head. Right, the only other pipe we need to remove is this breather pipe here, which is dead simple. It is a pair of pliers. We can find them quickly, which we can't typically, because I'm fucking awful at leaving my tools in places where I don't know where they are. Okay. Okay, right, small fuel spillage there as you can see, but hey, we're still here and we've got one loose tank, so let's drag it back, not touch. I think what we might actually try and do is muscle the fucker out the pit and onto the floor. Right then. I really would rather it wasn't pissing fuel out of that pipe, so what can we do about that? Let's see. Have we got a rubber bung that can deal with that? No. Deep, 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 deep. Scribbity bip deal. Aha. Electrical wiring, let me not forget that. Fuel pump wiring, that was clipped onto the top of the tank. That could have been quite bad. Right, okay, so what we shall try and do is go a bit further forwards. Who needs a fucking jack when you're a big Scotsman, eh? Jacks for pussies. Oh, there we go. One fuel tank removed from the car. Okay, man. I do believe that now allows me some fine access to this here chassis rail, which is the whole fucking reason why we're here. So, if you're still with me, guys, one of the bad points about the FTO is chassis rails made of cheese. And this hole here is why we're here today. So what I'm going to basically be doing is coming in here, undoing these brake lines, probably going for a chop on the chop and getting shot this one out of the way completely. In fact, we might be able to just undo that. And then what I really want to do is try and get around this whole section here where the suspension is mounted. This is not in good nick, as you can see, and it's going to cause us some grief. So I think what we're going to have to be doing is cutting out a big section of this here. I really didn't want to have to fucking cut out any of the part of the suspension block there, but it looks like we might have to. And then rebuilding that. So gracefully, it looks fairly good down here. Yep, our rust is all around where the body panels are spot welded together. Same old story with the FTO. I don't know what the fuck they did when they spot welded them back together, but they've just rotted from the creases out. So at least now we've got the fuel tank out, we can really have a look and see what we've got here, which is not looking particularly nice, as you can see, and we'll do a bit of work on it. But yeah, that's the point of today's video. There's your fuel tank out of the FTO. You can make it better by using jacks and taking your time with it. This has got about just under half a tank of fuel in it. It wasn't too difficult to lift, as you can see. It was a bit of grunt work, but hey ho, no problem. Obviously be very careful when you've got fuel kicking about, guys. You don't want to have an explosion or cause yourself any problems. There you go, one FTO fuel tank out the fucking car. Now for a bit of rust repair. I hate rust, man. Masses of corrosion, masses of corrosion, masses of corrosion, masses of corrosion.